Following the sudden and dramatic collapse of Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria, the Palestinian militant group Hamas has issued a notable statement, expressing both congratulations to the Syrian people and outlining its expectations for the future political direction of the country. Hamas, which has long been a significant player in the Palestinian resistance movement, took this moment to not only celebrate the fall of a regime that it saw as an obstacle to broader regional stability but also to voice its hopes for the future of Syria, particularly with regard to the nation's role in supporting the Palestinian cause. The statement issued by Hamas emphasized the group's belief that the Syrian people's victory over the Assad regime was a monumental step, signaling an end to decades of authoritarian rule. For Hamas, the downfall of Assad represents not just a regional shift but also a potential opportunity for a renewed focus on the Palestinian struggle, a cause that Syria has historically supported, despite the complexities of the situation. Hamas congratulated the Syrian populace, acknowledging their efforts in bringing down a regime that has been entrenched in power for over 2 decades. However, while Hamas celebrated the end of the Assad regime, it also called for the establishment of new leadership in Syria that would prioritize the nation's unity. This emphasis on national cohesion reflects Hamas' broader understanding of the situation in Syria. The group recognized that the collapse of Assad's regime has left Syria in a state of uncertainty, and that without strong, unifying leadership, the country could risk further fragmentation or instability. In this context, Hamas stressed the importance of setting up a new government that could guide the country toward peace and stability, ensuring the continuity of Syrian sovereignty. At the same time, Hamas underscored the vital role that Syria has played in supporting Palestinian resistance movements over the years. The group reminded the Syrian people and the broader Arab world of Syria's long-standing support for the Palestinian cause, particularly during the rule of the Assad family. Throughout the Syrian civil war, despite its own internal struggles, Syria has been a key supporter of Palestinian factions, including Hamas, by providing both material and political backing. Given this history, Hamas voiced its concern over the future of Syrian support for Palestinian resistance, particularly in light of the shifting dynamics in the region. As various factions scramble to fill the vacuum left by the Assad regime, Hamas is particularly focused on ensuring that Syria remains a steadfast ally to the Palestinian cause, regardless of who emerges as the new leadership. The group made it clear that the fight for Palestinian rights and the ongoing resistance against Israeli occupation cannot afford to lose the support of Syria, which has served as an important base for Palestinian movements in the past. This call for continued Syrian support comes at a time of increasing geopolitical flux. With the fall of Assad, the Middle East is witnessing a reshuffling of alliances, and Hamas is keen to ensure that the new political landscape does not lead to the marginalization of Palestinian resistance. While the Assad regime was not without its controversies, particularly with regard to its relationship with Iran and other regional powers, it provided an essential platform for Hamas to operate and plan. As Syria's future direction remains uncertain, Hamas' plea for the continuation of this support is rooted in a pragmatic desire to safeguard Palestinian interests in an increasingly unstable region. In its statement, Hamas also stressed the importance of the Palestinian issue within the broader framework of Middle Eastern politics. The group reminded Syria's new leadership that the fight for Palestinian liberation is not just a cause for Palestinians but one that is deeply embedded in the Arab identity and solidarity. Hamas called on the next Syrian government to reaffirm its commitment to the Palestinian struggle, advocating for continued support for resistance groups that seek to end the Israeli occupation of Palestine. For Hamas, the collapse of Assad's regime could also represent a turning point in the organization's relationship with Syria. Although relations between the two were once strained, particularly during the early years of the Syrian civil war when Hamas distanced itself from the Assad government, the collapse of the Assad regime could present an opportunity for Hamas to recalibrate its alliances in the region. It remains to be seen whether the next Syrian leadership will maintain the same level of commitment to the Palestinian cause, but for now, Hamas is focusing on preserving the strategic and political gains it has made over the years in Syria.
The situation in Syria remains fluid, with a host of actors, including regional powers such as Iran, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia, vying for influence in the post-Assad era. The future of Syria's relationship with Hamas, and with the Palestinian resistance as a whole, will depend heavily on the political trajectory of the new Syrian leadership. Hamas' statement, therefore, not only marks its reaction to the collapse of the Assad regime but also sets the stage for future diplomatic engagement with whatever government takes power in Damascus. In conclusion, while Hamas congratulated the Syrian people on their victory over the Assad regime, the group's statement was also filled with pragmatic considerations for the future of Syria and the Palestinian cause. Emphasizing the need for unity and stability in Syria, Hamas underscored the importance of Syria continuing to support Palestinian resistance movements in their ongoing struggle for justice. As Syria navigates a new phase in its history, the alignment of its new leadership with Palestinian interests could be a key factor in shaping the broader Middle Eastern geopolitical landscape.